So, hi, Lynden. How you doing, mate? Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, yeah, fine, Paul. Very well.
Good. And obviously, I've known you for a while through the radio business, but not a lot of the listeners will know that much about you and your background, if you like. So, I'd like,
Yeah.
if I can, to let you talk about that. So, tell us a bit about your musical journey, how you got into the scene, what your early
Well,
were, and all of
for
that.
me, it started probably I was about 16 going on 17. And as my age grew, my influences as a youngster were mainly from my parents and all of that. And so it would have been influences like Van Morrison's, Rolling Stones, Beatles, Elvis Presley, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then my own influences about sort of like 15, 16 years old would have been the music at the time, which was like the Madness, Selector, that kind of skinheady kind of type music. Then I went into, then I started following people like Depeche Mode, Soft Cell, the New Romantics, Depeche Mode, and all of that. But none of them really ever stuck with me. I liked it and I enjoyed it, and I bought the music, but it never, I don't know, it never really kind of got me going, if you know what I mean. It never excited me. And then what happened is kind of like just local to me. We have and I've mentioned it before on my shows. I had a local club called the Pink Elephant in Southgate, and what happened? The DJs who started Case, the Chris Hill and Froggy and people like that, they done Soul Night at the Pink Elephant, which was an under 18s on a Wednesday and over 18s on the Saturday. Well, I was about, like I say, 16 coming up 17. So all my friends said, well, let's go up there and see this soul club. And the minute I walked into the dance floor, because the Pink Elephant, you had like a long hallway, and then you went into the actual nightclub, which had a balcony all the way around. I think they filmed Quadrophenia there. So as soon as I went in there and heard the first few tracks, I felt it. I felt like I was at home. It's my music.
And this would have been early 80s, would it been?
80, probably 83, 4.
Yeah. And that's
maybe 85.
You felt that connection.
Yeah, and that was it. I got to the dance floor, and I remember they had a little club room upstairs where they had a lot of kind of robotic stuff and break beating and all that. And I remember watching the people dancing to it, doing all the robotics and all of that, and the music. And I just thought, this is me. This is right up my street. And then obviously down in the main room, you had Chris Hill, Froggy, who else was there? Robbie Vincent.
Yeah.
And then they started playing things like Roy Ayers, MFSB, Maze, Frankie Beverly, and they just found and the music of the time, you know, like the 80s style, funk, early 80s, and that was it for me. It was my kind of thing, and then that's where it started really, and then I went on from there.
And when you say you went on from there, did you? I mean, obviously, you presumably went to other clubs and so.
Well, I followed where they went, so there was places like Lacey Ladies. Yeah. Gold Mines was Chris Hill's first like resident place. So Gold Mines, there was 06.
Yeah.
And then loads more clubs. I mean, I've got a list of them here, and it's just.
Go on.
I was just doing.
What have you got?
Well, these are the clubs I used to go to. So it was like the Pink Elephant, obviously, 06, Tops in Southend as well. Yeah. You had Gold Mine, Canvey Island, Electric Ballroom in Camden.
Yeah.
You had the Metropolitan Club in Farringdon. I don't know if you remember that. The WAG Club, Waldorf Street, Elton's in Tottenham, Ritz's in Tottenham, Paradise Lost in Watford, Chicago's in Stevenage, Charlie Chan's in Chinkford, Rumours down in Grays, and there was Duke's in Chelmsford and Hollywood's in Romford. And they were the kind of clubs I went to. Others as well, September's and Gucci's and all these other clubs. So I kind of just followed wherever the scene was.
Yeah.
I'd just follow these DJs, and there was other DJs. Obviously, some of the other DJs were people like Greg Edwards, Gary Dennis, Ian Levine, Tony Blackburn, Bob Jones, Terry Jones. And so wherever they were playing, especially people like Bob Jones, who were more jazz funk, and I love his style.
Yeah.
So I kind of just, that was it, followed that scene, and then obviously went to Caister, the first Caisters, when Chris Hill started them up. I think he started in 1979, so I didn't really go to one until about, I think it was 80 something, and then they stopped and restarted again.
And so that's you as a punter, as it were, going along, listening to music,
yeah,
dancing, you know,
yeah,
doing your thing with your mates. When did that turn into you actually playing music yourself as a DJ? When did that happen?
Oh, not for a long time. I just collected music as a collector. So I would then like listen to like Robbie Vincent on a Sunday night show. Yeah. I would listen to any radio station like Radio London, anyone who would be playing soul music or jazz funk music or disco music at that time. I'd listen with my pen and paper and write down the songs and the name, and then I'd go to my local record stores and second-hand stores, boot fairs, and collect as much as I could.
Yeah, and so collecting from obviously from them times. Which record shops can you remember going to? Can you remember?
Well, the record shops I went to at the time would have been, if it was a new release, it would be places like Our Price, Harlem, HMV. If it was stuff that was old, it would be obviously places like Reckless Records, Record and Tape Exchange. Yeah. And then they were the kind of high street ones that had quite a few branches. And then it would be independent, like collectors, like in Palmer's Green, I've got one called The Record Detective. Mm-hmm. So I used to go in there. I had another one in Edmonton, kind of shopping centre. He done. Then there's Dave's in Finchley, who's still there now today, and I pop into his every so often still to look what he's got. So it'd be like that. But the new stuff would always go. Oh, Virgin, Megastore in Oxford Street. Yeah. And then so it'd be there. HMV, Our Price, Harlem. And then we used to have a couple of independent, but done new stuff, and they would. I'd go to them as well.
Because I mean, I remember all of those stops, plus other ones as well. So there was the one in? There's ones in Tottenham as well, wasn't there? Was it Music Pack?
Oh, yes, on the main road. Oh, what was that?
Yeah, and there was another one in Wood Green. The name escapes me. It was in the shopping centre, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
can't remember his name.
Yeah. Oh, Tower Records. I used to go to a lot as well. The big Tower Records.
City Sounds down in Holborn. They were always good for and Grooves in Greek Street, the famous record shop down there, down the West End.
That's it. Berwick used to pop Berwick Street as well.
And so, as I said, when you're collecting, but when did you start spinning it?
I would probably say so. If I was collecting, I probably collected for a good 20 odd years before. So probably not until my late 30s, early, before I actually then started doing people's parties. And then like parties, and then like little club nights if they had them in the pub and things like that. And then it was radio, really. It was I just wanted to share my music, and what I'm not really what you call a club DJ or anything. I would just call myself really a music or a music selector. Yeah. Is what I call it, rather than a DJ in the club scene.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, we're not talking about mixing up the beats and all of that to create. Yeah. You're just sharing your enthusiasm, your love of the music, aren't you, through your shows?
Yeah, it's basically, I've got this great collection of music that I've collected over the years. Some worth money, most of them not worth a lot of money, but it's just wanting to play something that I love and share it with other people that might not have heard these songs before, or they might have missed them. And even like me, I've missed loads. I'm still finding music today that I completely missed back in the day.
So you're still digging.
Oh, and still looking, keep listening and listening. I could go through 50 or 60 songs a week and only find one that I like. But I just keep on listening. I keep trying to find them gems.
Well, you do. I have to say, Lynden, from your shows, which I obviously listen to, and for everybody, they're on a Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. They're absolutely awesome. You create a wonderful, different vibe depending upon what your mood is taking you to, and you've got a great selection of music, which really comes through from the show. So, as a listener, I really enjoy what you do, and I'm sure you enjoy doing it, and that comes through from your shows.
Yeah, and that's why it's so diverse, mine. It's because it's a certain sound of music that I like. So and that sound, and I can't explain it. It's I kind of like a rhythm. It's got like a rhythm, and even if I'm playing something that's kind of northern soul, and then something that's 21st century, if you kind of listen, you'll see that they're although they're completely different sounding, there's something about them that link, and I think it's a rhythm in it. A finger tapping rhythm, if you get what I mean, running through it. So and that's all how I can kind of explain how I pick. So that's why it's so diverse. It goes from funk to jazz funk to reggae to ska, but it's a certain type in all of them genres that I pick on, if you know what I mean. And if you kind of listen to my shows, you'll kind of get that sense of how they all kind of go to my style. They've got a sound to them. They've got a rhythm running through them all that's kind of similar.
The Lynden J SOULMAN style, would you say?
Yeah. And like I say, and although they're completely different, like a 60s kind of tune to a 21st century soul song is completely different in every way. I mean, but there's something when you listen to them that link them up, and it's in the sound of them. There's something in them that matches.
That's what you're searching for when you're listening to the music.
Well, as soon as I listen, I know it. It's there, and it's because the first thing that happens when I find the tune, my fingers will start going, and I'll start doing it like a bongo, and I'll start, and then I think this is it, and then that's it, and then I know, and it's almost in an instinct. As soon as I hear it, it's there. Yeah, I could listen to, like I say, 50 songs, and I'll only find one with it.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes a lot of sense now when I think about how your shows are put together, because and you do put a lot of time and effort into your shows, don't you?
Yeah. I sit there and I select and I try, like I said, I try to give somebody everything rather than the same kind of genre all the time. I like to mix it up because that's how I listen to music. 1 minute I'll sit there and I have a whole week of going down a lovers rock route. But then the following week I'll hear one like kind of, I don't know, it might be a house track, and that's it. That week, oh yeah, this is the best music ever. You know, and then the following week I'll listen to a modern soul track from the early 70s and go, nah, this is better. You know, so it's kind of like whatever takes my fancy on that particular week.
I have to say though, Lynden, and I've heard your shows, so I know you might not say no, but the decade that you said is your favourite decade is also mine, which is the 70s.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, 70s has, because it was so diverse from the beginning to the end. I mean, and also it's just, I don't know, I think the musical content and like the artists and was just like, because it's live music, real people playing real instruments. You know, there's no process about it. And you can tell sometimes that they've gone off. They're not in time.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. It's like they're just like loads of blokes in a studio or in their front room and just going for it. And I love that.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I get that as well, Lynden. So I really enjoy that sort of. Sometimes it's called lo-fi, and it's really some of the best tunes. And once we think there's no, it's just as you said, people just playing the music from their heart. Whereas now there's so much technology that they can make incredible music to make it sound like that. But you know, the 70s definitely is a period for me which I really enjoyed. That time.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and like I say, I mean, you got at the beginning, you got the funk that's come over from the early 60s funk. You've got, and then you move into sort of like the modern soul, which is a little bit moved from the northern soul, and then you go into like what I call 70s typical soul, which is like all your kind of Randy Browns, your Teddy Pendergrass, and all that kind of soft soul and all that. Then you've got your fusion that came in, which is a mixture of your jazz and your funk and your and your disco and soul mixed into one. More jazzy side of it. Then you've got your jazz funk that started off, was big, probably bigger in the early 80s when it really took off.
Yeah.
But you could see it slowly coming in the late 70s. Then you've got the disco, you know, and it's just, and then you've got your, what's the name? You've got your, what they call it, P-Funk as well, another kind of genre that was in the 70s that was great music by great artists.
So what do you...
And then you have your reggae as well, and your reggae and your ska and your lovers rock starting off
in there as well. Yeah, exactly. So in terms of then the boat party, which we've got coming up with Soul Roots Radio, have you had thoughts about what sort of thing you want to be playing then?
Well,
still
I was going to say, like my radio show. Yeah. What I'll be playing, I don't know. You'll have to come along to find out.
I love it.
But I think it's because it's a boat party.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be as super deep. I'm not going to go, because obviously the one thing about being on a boat party, you want to be there for a party. You want to enjoy yourself. And like I've found over the years, most people do like to know or like a little sing song at a party. So I don't think it'll be as esoteric or crate digging stuff that I'd play on my show.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more that you'll know the songs, or you're, you know, a more upbeat kind of feel.
Absolutely.
That I would say that. But like I say, you don't know.
You don't know. You could come with some curveballs. I know that, Lynden.
Yeah. There could be some curveballs, as they say.
I expect nothing less, mate. So that's brilliant. But look, thank you very much for talking to me, Lynden. And
you're welcome.
Look forward to the boat party. And I'm sure the listeners will too. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hold on. What have I got to do? I've got to press. I've got to press stop recording. There we go.